Everyone. Dog Bite, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I greatly appreciate that, my friend. I really do. Before I get into this, and it was your 20th YouTube super chat during these live, that's incredible. So before we get into this morning's live, which I was gonna just do an update, but my son doesn't have school every Friday, um, and he's still getting up here. He's doing a lot better than yesterday, sounds like, so it's starting off to be a good day. Very cold where I live. We're looking to get about 2 to 4 inches of snow here. It was about 9 degrees when I got up. And it's just going to be one of those days, which I really enjoy it. Um, but you'll never see a more focused XRP future millionaire than you're going to see today. You'll never see a more on point with not just my demeanor, but with what I want to get across here today. And you'll never see a more fundamental way of love, not even acknowledging hate, than you've seen, not just to start 2025, but what you're going to see going forward, because there is simply going to be zero acknowledgement outside of the love. Yesterday showed me a very deep thing as I was watching through my playback. Just no matter what you're trying to push and no matter what you're trying to preach, there's always going to be somebody that's trying to change your agenda or change your path. So you've got to find it within your own mental strength to continue pushing the point that you believe in, regardless of the haters, skeptics, or the lovers. Whether you're loved or hated alike, you've got to stay on the same trajectory. So I'm going to continue to grow in 2025, but also siphon out the hate via lack of recognition outside of love. So what we're looking at for XRP is we're looking at the fact we're still in this pennant flag. We've had some severe volatility going into the morning here in the USA. Since I woke up, and I've been watching it for about an hour and a half now, since I woke up, I've watched the market go from XRP was at about $2 and almost 31 cents. Then in about 17 minutes, it dropped down to $2.24.25. Now it's back up to almost $2.30. Bitcoin was up to almost just about 95,000. Then you can see it dropped right back off in about an 18-minute span. And it went from 95,160, came all the way down to 92,820. Now we're fading back up just a little bit. But once again, we've got a few factors that could be working against us right now. Or if this doesn't break the support, we could obviously see that we may have forced ourselves out of a rising broadening wedge, which would be great. But it's still not confirmed unless you break out of what looks like a short-term possible symmetrical triangle, which is the importance of technical analysis. Regardless what you might read in chat today, for the ones who say technical analysis doesn't matter, and there's simply no way to avoid the skeptics or the lovers, because when you get a couple hundred people in at the same time, and there may not be that many today because we've got people at work and yada, so on and so forth, but you're going to get the differing opinions. So you've got to stay mentally strong enough to cipher out the good, the bad, the indecent, and the ones who are just there to throw you off your game. So the point here is, if you stay up to date with the technical analysis, we started in a very clear rising broadening wedge. We've got a stationary support. The more times we hit this support, the more likely we are to break through. We've also got a death cross in the 4-hourly that's working against us right now. But we've got a resistance, very clear resistance. Is this forming some kind of symmetrical triangle now? If it is, that can be classified as a bullish consolidation. However, to me, until you break out of that rising broadening wedge takes precedent to me right now, because we could still very easily bounce up, get a rejection at the top of the rising wedge, and it would still, or rising broadening wedge, and it would still be very much valid. It's just, if you're talking about maybe a small bright spot, there's a symmetrical triangle that is pointing here. So it's possible. Now, when you talk about what else is working against us, we've got the federal government. They got the green light to sell 6.5 billion in Bitcoin seized from Silk Road. However, I'm going to throw a slightly different spin and have a 4D chess game here with all of you. And if the US government right now holds more Bitcoin than 65% of other government, like they hold 65% more Bitcoin, just let that statistic sink in. The US government has 65% more Bitcoin than governments in the rest of the world. What they don't have is 65% more gold and silver than the rest of the world. But just hear me out. If we're becoming the crypto capital of the world by Trump saying and by us signing all these patents now that maybe some of you haven't seen, but there's been many patents signed by the US now in regard to some of this technology. And it's getting a little out of hand with the digital technology. But why would they want to sell all of their Bitcoin if in fact they're going to become the Bitcoin crypto capital of the world? And they want to make it not just make a Bitcoin reserve, but they want us to basically be the crypto capital. So I think we're getting a lot of noise here. I understand, I know 74,000 is very possible. But what I'm saying is I understand they're going to sell the Silk Road stuff, but is that a trap? Is this a trap? Like, we need to look at it from a deeper scale. If we own 65% more Bitcoin in our U.S. Federal Reserve or in the government, in our game right now, because we don't have enough metals, we don't have the reserves, are we really going to give it all back? Or are they going to get it all back, crash the market, and then are we going to have this epic buying rail? Like that. That's. But to me, I'm starting to look at it a little bit deeper on what the actual agenda is here. And are we really going to be a crypto capital of the world? That's unconstitutional, for one. So are we going to start rewriting the Constitution, or are we going to start to see things play out like they probably should? If the U.S. government sells that off, 74K is guaranteed. If this death cross plays out, if the rising broadening wedge breaks down, that's the technical target. However, if the symmetrical triangle is something that all of a sudden is emerging, because, believe it or not everybody was bearish yesterday. Not everybody was bearish yesterday. Whoops. There was a certain segment of the richer population that might have been paying a little more attention than us. So we've seen how institutional Bitcoin whales accumulate 34,000 Bitcoin following December price drop. So we'll get into that as well. So some of the deeper pockets are in fact accumulating large amounts of Bitcoin. Now I find it rather interesting that 34,000 Bitcoin has been picked up by whales at the exact same time that Silk Road. They acknowledge that the U.S. government can sell that much Bitcoin. Now, with this wild volatility today, what the hell is really going on? Because that is not a long leg doji. This, in fact, the way this candle ended up playing out because of how far it pulled down, one could determine that as possibly a bullish candle. That's why I'm saying if this symmetrical triangle is something that we need to acknowledge, it could supersede the rising broadening wedge, at least in the short term. And then your target could be up to, I don't even want to get into it, but your target, I mean, people decided just 175. But if you start looking at it as almost a symmetrical triangle, then you're like, well, what happens if we did reverse this out? That's how you start coming back. That's what I mean. Like, there's an opportunity here for Bitcoin to right the ship. There really, really is. Even if you want to take the short target right here where you have a validated, support to resistance perfectly hitting. Even if you do that, I was going to say 112. I was wondering how I had that in my head. That's why, because I took the shorter part. But that's the opportunity there. If this is actually forming something we need to see. But until we get past, and I'm going to say this like I always say, we can get excited, but until you break past that death cross, this is all BS. Because the rising broadening wedge is still in play. Until you break out of what looks like a possible symmetrical triangle, which we don't even know yet because you only got 2 hits on that resistance. You need 3 hits on that resistance to prove that that's what is going on. Ben, thank you for the $5 donation. You want to do something fun, please type in an anagram of Satoshi. I got to read the rest of that. But yeah, so, and like somebody in the audience said, they got the clearance to sell, but are they going to? Well, if you understand the national debt, that plays a factor. that why some might think they will. An anagram is just the same letters configured different ways. Oh, that's freaking cool. I don't. Well, you know who I think Satoshi Nakamoto is? I've already been very clear on that. It's the United States government. I believe the government created Bitcoin. You know, and it's when you start to look at everything as a whole. What is this behind me? Why did it change to this? Did I never have my cool background on? It was just some BS in the background the whole time. I wonder it looked weird in the background in front of me. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting time we live in. But look how volatile it's been. Look at this crazy volatility. But yeah, it's I just believe if you look at it, the U.S. government with our national debt, we don't have the federal budget to pay for the interest rates, let alone the total money we owe. So if the government did create Bitcoin and they're using the sales to pay the interest on the national debt, I mean, so anyhow, I want to speak in broader terms, but I also don't want to turn people off this morning just yet. So let's continue on the road we're on. XRP still has not invalidated what we need to invalidate. In fact, we're revalidating a death cross here in the 2-hourly. So that speaks to a downward tug. Bearish cross speaks to a downward tug. But we haven't given up the 200-day. Speaks to a sign of strength. However, one could argue there's a bear flag there, but one could also argue maybe there's an Adam and Eve pattern forming. Hey, I'm just throwing out it. I'm not saying that that's what's happening, but that would be a good thing, possibly. Unless there's always the bearish scenario. But there's a lot of broader things going on. I could even look at this right now, and I could just be like, you know, if we're looking at the lows and higher lows and what all of this means, well, I could simply I could go in many ways on this, but I think it's very hard to look at it because you could start here, come here, go here, or you could just be like, well, we had this down, up, down, up, down, up, down. What if it did go up? Even what if it did go up? You start to see, you know, we're just building within a symmetrical, inside of a pennant flag. That's all I'm seeing here. Besides, unless it does the alternate, what we talked about, which that would, if it does the alternate, it would be interesting. Whoops. It would be interesting because the alternate is that falling channel, and it could just be moving in a channel, but you have to look at it like, whoops. Of course it did that because it's trading view. But if it's in the channel, you'd have to look at it like this. And we've talked about this before too. And this would be if it's in a channel. And I took this off just because I don't want to confuse everybody into thinking that's exactly what it is. But if it's in the channel, and we know we've got a fair value gap around 182, we don't really want to come that far down. You know, that's the alternate here. Like if you break out of this pennant flag, it's almost like you're bouncing in and out and around of here. You don't want to really come down there. So I understand that scenario because we've played off that scenario for a very long time, but I deleted that part of it just so that it's not prevalent on the chart because then it gets confusing. I just want to focus on the pennant flag, but I understand anybody who has that assertion right now because I myself do as well. And it's starting to become a little apparent that could be a possibility. You know, so it's getting interesting. But I still say the pennant flag is the overriding pattern, until it says otherwise. If it gives it away, if we make a lower low, it's not good. We do not want to make a lower low because right now we're making lower highs and higher lows, which is a very bullish consolidation after a very big run up. This is what you need. Marco, thank you so much for the $5.49 donation. That is incredibly generous. Seriously, thank you so much for that, my friend. Really, really appreciate that with the cup of coffee. Awesome. Tom, I found an XRP Army shirt. Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. A lot of shows out there pushing merchandise that have no business doing it just to capitalize off of you and me. I don't appreciate that much. But, you know, that's just me. Everywhere I turn now on TikTok, on YouTube, they're selling the XRP stuff. People that have very little knowledge of XRP should probably put in some work instead of just trying to show off the people that are making names for XRP. But, you know, that's another thing, greed with people. It's ruining a good thing with XRP. You know, there's so much expected and so little demanded. We give so much of our trust to some people, but we demand very little in return. We just give it up so easily. But then the people who are doing the real, we want so much in return, and we expect so much more. And it's interesting, that dynamic. It's interesting, that dynamic. I've seen the shirts popping up everywhere. I truly have. I could be selling XRP shirts. I could be selling XRP gear. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. But let me do this timestamp. Good morning. 10:07 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, January 10th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I'll take an XRP tank top. I 100% guarantee it. If I put XRP merchandise, none of you would buy it. And I know that because I did it one other time, and 2 people bought it. And then I was like, you know, I don't know about the XRP well, not even that. I just didn't want to shell out merchandise to try to make a buck. I understand some people might think it's a cool idea, but the bottom line is once you put that stuff out, and I can tell you better than you can understand because I've been doing this for 4 years. Everybody says they want something, but when you give it to them, they don't buy it. Like, that's just the bottom line. Unless you're a real, unless I come on here 24/7 like a real salesman, then I could get you to buy anything. I could tell you a sorrow. I could tell you a sob story. I could tell you the reasons why and yada, 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 so on and so forth, like most people do. But I don't have time for all that. I'd rather just give the technical analysis and give the warnings and whatnot and so forth and yada, yada, yada. So, let's see. And I can tell you that because most of the people that are commenting in here aren't even subscribed to my channel, believe it or not. And you know, I know now because I turned on a very key feature that it just has what looks like a red briefcase next to your name in the comments. Not in the lives, but in the comments on my channel. And most of my most supportive people are not even subscribed to my YouTube channel, believe it or not. And I was pretty remarkable to see that. I probably should have turned that feature on a long time ago. That's what I'm saying. People can tell you something in person, but they cut you with a sword behind your back. That's what usually happens. So don't let... That's the message today. Don't let people get you off your game because it can very simply happen. And it kind of changes the demeanor. Like if some people are focused to love or hate or demonic or God. Like I always say, don't forget to give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this beautiful and glorious Friday that we have today. Some people will be rubbed the wrong way. But I need to remember the indictment here is what I'm trying to shine out of myself. What somebody else shows me in the audience, that's just an indictment on themselves, whether good or bad. I can only show you my own genuine self. And that is something that sometimes can get lost in the shuffle, not just for me. It gets a little harder with almost 30,600 different personalities. But with each new subscriber, I've gained an ounce of courage. It's weird. To become even more like myself. I thought it would be the opposite when I first started. It turned out with the more subscribers became me being more authentic. And I was already authentic to start. So that's a pretty scary, well, good thing. It's a good dynamic for you, but scary for a hater because they won't have any fun. 92,900 Bitcoin's doing exactly what we talked about to start this live. Exactly what we talked about to start the live. All these negative dynamics here, and until it has some kind of great shift, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. You know, I see a rising broadening wedge. I understand we could play devil's advocate with the symmetrical triangle, and it could go to 112 because that's the talk I hear across town today. So I figured I would show it. That's how you get to that number. So if you're watching TA and people are talking about the symmetrical triangle going to 112,000, that's how you're getting that on Bitcoin across YouTube. But it always finds me funny that that narrative starts to be universally preached. But what you're not hearing today is about the rising broadening wedge. That should bring us to 74K. What we're not hearing about is Silk Road. Why? Why? I just want to know in 2025, why do we ignore the facts? Why do we ignore what's out in front of us? How can we sit here day after day but not absorb the information? And that's not for this community. I'm saying in general. So if you don't want to get taken to the slaughter and taken to the woodshed, you got to take the signals. And right now, we're all about to get taken to the woodshed, it looks like. I'm not just saying it because I want to. I'm saying it because it's going to happen probably. With a 95% certainty with the indicators that are popping up, this should drop down to 74K. XRP should be down to 205. Everything we're looking at on the screen will probably be down. And the thing that's hard to judge, like look at this for example. Okay, we're going to have a 10 to 15% correction, right? Oh, you're going to sell algo, and then all of a sudden it's up 7% or 5.5%. And now what happens if it drops 7 to 10%? You sold it for because of a 4% total drop because it had a artificial move up right before the drop, just like XRP went up to 231. Just like a lot of these other ones just had an artificial run up. So are some of these tokens, like I can see, somebody asked me about HBAR yesterday. I said, if you're going to buy it yesterday, just wait until it comes down here. 24 cents. Why even front run it? Hell, forget that. Not even 24 cents. 23 cents. That's too low. Or it was up too high. So why try to front run all this? If you're not holding already, don't try to run into a fucking falling sword. Some people like to misinterpret what I say when I say, hey, I've taken lots of profits, but I've already shared with you the ones that I am not willing to budge with. Whether I go to zero or we go to infinity, there's certain ones that I have bought where I wanted to buy. I don't really care about the up and down. Wake me up when 2028 to 32 comes around. How about that? How about I start talking in the broader terms so we can understand each other? Wake me up in 28 with the ones that I really care about. I don't care about the rest. How do you think I sold off 55 or 60,000 in profits? I took every single pile of garbage that I even thought was good, or somebody speculated to me and said, hey, this is what you need to own. And when I looked back and I said, this isn't what I want to own. If they had a Chinese tie, if they had some weird tie, I wasn't interested. If BitBoy was part of the nut buckling of it, I'm not holding it. I don't care how many years ago it was. If he was a part of it, I'm not interested. That's why IOST got kicked by the wayside in 2 flat milliseconds. IoT or not, it was pushed by the biggest sleazeball of all. So, you know, there's certain things. So now I can hold with the profits that I want and the money that I need, and I can build it going forward because we didn't just buy it now. For a lot of the people that are getting on telling you crypto sucks, we're all going to have to go to zero, and then they tell you why it's the biggest scam in town, why XRP is a load of shit. You know why these people are so mad? They didn't have the wherewithal to buy when it was at 35 and 50 cents because they were afraid. And now that same fear of missing out is making them come on and tell you it's all a pile of crap. You know what's really a pile of crap? Is anybody who told you to buy the memes. And I'm going to continue to point to this one. It's all an illusion. Thank you so much for the $2 donation. Talks about the 208 to 212 mark. Can't disagree. I just say the 205 because there's a fair value gap. So if we come to 208 and we don't come to 205, I'd be pissed. Just saying. Early bird gets the worm indeed. So the GOAT token, right? Everybody was telling you to buy the GOAT token. And I told you, if you buy the GOAT token, you're going to get... And a lot of people in my audience sold XRP for the pile of GOAT shit. And they were both at the same price. XRP was like 48. This was about 42, 44. This went up to $1.38. And XRP was just about to break over. And it was pushing. And I remember everybody's so excited. Look at this. XRP's only up this X amount. And this is up 3X to 2. And it was so funny. And I said, fine. Keep holding that. And when that comes down below the lowest of lows, and XRP still sitting way up here, and you're sitting there with your $3,500 still, and we're sitting with 20, 25, 30 grand. I didn't know where it would be. But this is what happens. So everything's always great. And I said when this came out, I was offered between 50 and 100,000 GOAT tokens to shill it on you, but I had to hold it until it hit $1.12. I told all of you that. It was either $1.12 or $1.22. I can never remember. I told the entire audience that. I said I was free to do what I wanted after it broke that point. Well, think about it. 100,000 GOAT tokens that I don't have to pay for just for shilling it onto my audience. If it goes up to $1, how much money is that, ladies and gentlemen? How much money could I have made on that one little push? Free tokens, after all. That's $100,000. So don't sit here and tell me that I don't understand the game, or that I don't have your best interests at heart, or I don't want love, and I prefer all this BS. No, I see what you don't see. Don't you want eyes and ears everywhere? I can be your eyes and ears, but you got to put some faith. I've been doing this for 4 years for a reason without missing a day off. I tell you the deep, dark secrets for a reason. Because if you're broke, it makes it no... What's the point? If I'm broke, what's the point? Don't you understand? With having 30,000, almost 600 subscribers now, I get privileges. I can see the darker game now. Whether or not I get bought and paid for and I buy into it or not, you'll firsthand know. The first day I show some bullshit token, you're going to know I got free tokens. The first day I start stealing some nonsense or have some sponsor, you're going to know I've been bought and paid for. So it's one of those things. Do you scare away the genuine person and just tell them it's not worth his time? Or do you take them serious? Because I'm never going to leave. So I'm always going to preach to, oh my God, what if he leaves? Because that's how I get the most what? The most conversation from you. But integrity shines through. So you need to understand what I'm saying. Do you want to go broke in crypto or do you want to stay ahead? What was another message I pushed? While we're about to have this drop, I'm shifting my attention to gold and silver. I said this when gold was at almost... Where were we at? We're up a decent amount from there now. Not that it's going to continue, but I said we could be in a rising, broadening wedge. So I focused from here for the push up while crypto was about to go down. I talked about the buy-in back in B2 Gold and First Majestic Silver and Fortuna Silver Mines because we have to combat the good with the bad. And then when I talk about building a paper position in silver to combat my mining stocks because it's on the exchange, I get people telling me that that's not the way to go because that's not understanding we have precious metals in our vault, right? So I'm combating the market the best way I know how and trying to teach you the best tools that I've utilized over the years that I've had to acquire myself. Because I tried the route all of you have with YouTube, but everybody wanted to make a pretty penny off of me. I tried asking people for help in the field. Every single one that you guys mentioned to me, all tried to charge me for a stupid course. So excuse me for not being Mr. Happy when it comes to that, but pushing the power of happiness and love in the proper perspective. That's what I want you to get to know in my community. And that's me being 100% genuine because that's what I get to see every day. So it doesn't rub me the wrong way, but something that really grinds my gears is how many of you really are out of touch with these slews, these shills, and these sleazeballs that are pushing these tokens on you and making us fucking filthy rich. How do you think all of them afforded to move to these other countries out of the U.S. so they don't have to pay taxes and they're showing you all this fancy shit? That's because you keep buying their garbage. You keep buying it, they get richer, you get less of a voice from people like me because they can't make it through the analytics. I don't know how I did. Thank God I have the power of my voice. The power of speech, the power of understanding, and the way to actually show you in a way that it gets your attention. I bet you I have your attention more today than I have this entire year. Yes or no? That's how I do it, though. I get you guys like this when it's a very volatile moment. So, but I'm going to be honest with you. If you guys want to know the secrets of the industry, just keep paying attention. The more subscribers I get, the more opportunities I'll receive, and the more I'm going to turn down. But the more you can hear about it if you want. That's why I've been talking about the GOAT token, because it really irritates me. The fact I was offered so much of it. Now look, I'd be sitting here at 100 grand, right? 120 grand. And now it's down to 35 cents. I'm going to let my kitty in. And then we're going to get back to business because we got to read about Silk Road. That's a very big deal. How you doing this feeding?
He's still shaking.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Come on, kitty. It's cold outside, Ghost.
Making bread dough.
We're making bread dough. We're making fresh bread today? Yeah. You hear that, everybody? Julie's making fresh bread. Ah, see, I knew I needed to buy the active dry, what was that, dry yeast yesterday? Yeah. What kind of bread? Really? Ooh, it's going to be a good day. Too bad I can't eat till 12. Although, Julie, it won't be done.
Yeah, because it has to rise.
Ah, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. Might be cold, might be snowy. Ohio State might be going to the national championship after today, but it's gonna be a good day.
You might make butter.
Oh, I can make butter. If my wife is watching, did you hear that fresh bread? Yes, Jorge. Did you hear Jorge, Julie? He said, if my wife is watching, did you hear the fresh bread? Ah, that is awesome. No, yeah, I mean, we're still have an opportunity. That's why I keep pointing out the symmetrical triangle. If this support, guys and gals, if this can hold and somehow, some way, we fight ourselves outside of the symmetrical triangle, it's going to be game on. However, Jorge, I wish I could try your wife's bread. I really, really do. And thank you for being a very trusted modern in Tom's Army for over 3 months. You know, that felt good to get that off of my shoulders, because I never know how it's going to come out when I start, but I knew today it was going to be something was going to come out today, because I see a lot of people who are getting manipulated out of their money, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. You know, it really doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. That was me tripping over something, as usual. No, I had to get my thing for my glasses because they're a little smeared. But yeah, so I know we have a new moon on Monday if I'm reading the celestial cycles correctly. So after what could be a volatile start, and we already know it's been, but the one thing we pointed out when we started this is, yeah, it all looks bad, but at least it's not a long leg doji reversal candle. Now, one could argue, hey, Tom, couldn't it come up here and make a new high and hit that 200 at 96K and then come right back? I could. But if we're looking at the good, maybe we can eke ourselves up here. Right now, by all indicators outside of the relative strength index on a higher time frame, and stochastic by some stretches, it's not awful. Am I on crack? Or if Bitcoin is poised for 74K, then wouldn't we need to hit 90? No. Yeah, you're on crack. No offense, but yeah, you're on crack. If Bitcoin only goes to 74, remember, we went from 108 to 91,000, and XRP went from about 250 to 228. So it only dropped 22 cents. Remember, Bitcoin's in its own entity right now. But XRP, if Bitcoin went down there, you could expect possibly as low as $1.52. I'm not saying that it can't go to 92 cents, but you're going to have areas that you're going to have to take out first. In order for XRP to go to 92, I think Bitcoin would have to at least fall back within below 67,000, in my opinion. Oh, yeah. Somebody said, today I saw videos with titles, take off, let's go now, new high, you missed final chance because crypto did some small pumps. Oh, yeah, it happens all the time. I got to blow my nose. Otherwise, you guys are going to have to hear me, you know, in a way you don't want to. Oh, yeah, you're right. He doesn't want to acknowledge life. He's resting.
That's why I'm making bread.
But it is awfully dark for the holidays outside.
Usually open.
I'm just going to let him. He's recovering. He had all 3 feedings yesterday, didn't he?
Yeah.
What a good boy. Even with not feeling good, he still did his business. That is awesome. YouTuber face videos are getting stupid. I know. Yes, they are. They should trade that 69,370 Bitcoin for XRP. I mean, here's the thing though. If we're making a real Bitcoin reserve, does it make sense for us to sell off all those Bitcoins? They got clearance to do it. It doesn't mean they will. And then I look at so let's read the government and then what the whales did. So let's get the most recent story. I like to get the most recent. So we got 10 hours ago. Let's go into all. 12 hours ago. 20. Here we go. Here we go. 25 minutes ago. See, this is why you try to stay with the updated, but we'll see if it's nonsense, because obviously I haven't been able to read this and verify any of this. We're doing it in real time, so here we go. Good or bad, we're in it together. All right, that's the way it should be. So U.S. government moves Silk Road Bitcoin and test transaction. The U.S. government has recently made a small transaction from the FBI-controlled wallet holding Bitcoin seized from the Silk Road. The transaction took place on January 10, 2025, involving transferring only 0.00000546 Bitcoin. So basically, they paid more in fees. 51 cents, which seems to be a small test transfer to check the process of moving funds from the wallet. This is important because the FBI has been approved to sell all these seized Bitcoins. The small amount being moved in this transaction suggests they are likely testing the process before making larger sales, acting like they've never sold a Bitcoin before. The wallet holds approximately 69,000 Bitcoin worth $6.5 billion, which were confiscated from an individual who stole them from the Silk Road marketplace. That's it. I guess we'll go into the other story. So, a federal judge approved on December 30th the selling of about 69,370 Bitcoin, estimated to be around $6.5 billion in value. That was seized by the U.S. Department of Justice from the Darknet's notorious Silk Road marketplace. It put an end to the long saga in court where claims over who actually owned these cryptocurrencies were presented. The Bitcoin was recovered. As we know, the U.S. government is one of the world's leading mafiosos. And I should know my grandpa was in the Italian militia, so I know the mafioso when I see it. The Bitcoin was recovered from the infamous dark web marketplace called Silk Road. It was known for several illegal activities, including drug trafficking and hacking services. The assets remain at the core of a highly publicized and litigated matter. So the U.S. government has been given the green light. So we already know this about liquidating from Silk Road. Now, the fact remains, are they going to actually sell it all, or is this going to be put into more like a more sustainable holding, into more of a Bitcoin reserve like they're talking about? It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to sell all that Bitcoin if they're just making a reserve. But hey, I've also said, you know, are they going to let Trump come in with do they want him to come in with pumping crypto, or do they want to see red like we've seen now the last couple of weeks? You certainly want to go in on the highest of highs, but what if Trump comes in and the consolidation's out of the way, and then when he comes in, they're able to just pump it to oblivion now? Remember, there's always optics at every turn. And if we're really falling off in this country the way we're going to, because I had a conversation with somebody a lot smarter than I, who's much older than I, and was being asked some very interesting questions, and when I told them my perspective that we're already in recession, and these moves that we're doing, and the reason why, even though they were cutting rates, notice your housing mortgage, the rates were going up. Notice for car loans, the interest rates were going up. Notice when you were taking out a loan, interest rates were going up, even though they were cutting rates. That's because we're heading into a scary place. It's called hyperinflation. And when that happens, 75% of you watching right now aren't probably going to be watching anymore, because you're going to be so broke that you're not going to be able to afford the internet. And that's not a threat. That's reality. So unless we do this properly, and I told this person, the reason why there's such a black light on digital assets for the last 4 years is because they don't want the average folk to buy into this. You should give a fuck about Bitcoin. It's telling you what's to come. Because if XRP goes the opposite way in its pennant flag, hear me out, everybody. Don't discount information you're getting just because, oh, I don't like Bitcoin. I won't own Bitcoin. I wouldn't own Bitcoin either. I know that's not aimed at you, James. You don't love... no. This isn't aimed at you, James. No, not you, James. I know you love me. I should have started with that. I know you do because you're here every day. But listen, what I'm saying is the mindset for some. If you're just looking at Bitcoin and saying, I don't care about it, I only want to know about XRP, just follow the noise. Follow the actual info that we have in front of us. You think I want to talk about Bitcoin? I hate Bitcoin. You think I care about what they're doing with the government with Bitcoin? No, because I already know the truth. They are Bitcoin. You might as well put a B on the United States government's logo because they are the creators, owners, holders, and sellers and extorters of Bitcoin. Same people that create the dark web are the same ones saying that Bitcoin was being used for illegal activity so they could push their book. I mean, I understand. But it still is showing us something. Yes. But the good thing about this is if Bitcoin's in a rising, broadening wedge and XRP's in a pennant flag, it remains that same question I keep asking. If Bitcoin breaks out of the rising, broadening wedge, can XRP break bullish out of the pennant flag at the same time, officially decoupling from Bitcoin? That's the larger thing that is not being taken here. And we'll read this, but understand this. Can XRP... There's only two scenarios here. One, it's going to break out bullish, even if Bitcoin breaks out, because this is a bullish consolidation, a pennant flag, as to where Bitcoin in a rising, broadening wedge is a bearish consolidation. However, there's one out for Bitcoin right now, and it seems to be a symmetrical triangle. And that could give you a short-term bolster between 112 and probably could get you up to 122 to finish off the technical move from the initial start of this run. It's either that's playing out and it goes up and we're getting an artificial black eye here and Bitcoin's actually going to pump. Or the second scenario out of three, remember, because the third one's not the good one. But out of the second scenario, Bitcoin breaks down out of the rising, broadening wedge, as you see, goes down to 74, but XRP breaks up out of a pennant flag, officially decoupling from Bitcoin. And then it would be at $3.36 at the same time Bitcoin arrives at 74K. That would create the biggest market dynamic shift that you've ever seen. And that would create the biggest run of FOMO you've ever witnessed in XRP. And that would be probably how we could finish out that technical move to 539. However, the third scenario is this is all bullshit. This pennant flag's a fake out to try to sucker in as many people as possible. And then it's going to come down to the technical target at some point of $1.05 if it breaks out of the pennant. Maybe the monthly fair value gap at $1.82 holds. Maybe the one at $1.52. But I could see a scenario where, you know, maybe $1.05, $1.08 it ends up at if it breaks out of the pennant. So that's what we need to discuss right now. Which one of those three do you think is more likely to play out? Do you think the time for XRP to finally decouple is here? Do you think Bitcoin's about to break out of a symmetrical triangle that started off as a pennant or as a rising, broadening wedge, and now it's going to at least have a short-term pushback up? Or do you think Bitcoin's just going to break down because it's clearly a head and shoulders if it doesn't break out? I've put that up here about 400 times where I mark out the head and shoulders. And I keep showing it, and I'll show it once more. So for anybody who doesn't know in the comments. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. That could be a classic head and shoulders. Or it could be a classic left shoulder if it comes up to the technical target area. And then it comes up to a classic head, classic shoulder. And then because of how volatile it was, you could have a big something like that as well. So symmetrical triangle breaks up. Good chance that something like that happens. Rising, broadening wedge breaks down, you come in here. There's zero question. So right now it points to the fact that, you know, it's more of a chance that the rising, broadening wedge breaks down. But the fact we've got two hits on what looks like could be a symmetrical triangle, it at least leaves the discussion open that what the hell is really going on. But it's going to have to do something. Yes and no. The only reason I would say it's not too soon for all-time highs for XRP is because we've back tested this range so beautifully. The fact that we've back tested the $1.98, the fact we created a hold at the monthly FVG at $1.82 and haven't pushed past it, that's a good sign, which means your new support area with the monthly FVG is about $1.82. So, but like I said, go into battle with what you're worth fighting with. Make sure when you're up 5, 6, 700%, you get your money back so you're fighting on house's money. There's nothing more exciting than having all profit being what you're discussing, whether or not you're losing profit, but can't be touched with the nominal actual put in. One way to get your emotion out of it is to take your money out of it. Then it's just money on the screen, just paper, not even digital. So, but there's a lot to be optimistic for, even on a drop. Even on a drop. But XRP, until it breaks out of the pennant flag, it is not in the same pattern as XRP or as Bitcoin. So let me finish this though, because it is still early Friday morning, so I'm gonna have to do stuff here. But I have every intention of being live tonight around 6 p.m. I am watching the college football playoff tonight. Hopefully FanDuel doesn't screw us like yesterday where I couldn't even put a bet in until halftime, so I decided not to. Because for whatever reason, when it was sure money bet, and then oh my God, there was so much easy money to be made when Notre Dame was losing at halftime. You guys all know I picked Notre Dame to make it all the way to the championship. I just didn't know if they could beat Ohio State. So my whole thing going into the championship was I didn't think Oregon could beat Ohio State twice. So I was looking at the sheet, and it was either, for me, it was either going to be Notre Dame against Texas or Notre Dame against Ohio State. And I was hoping it would be Notre Dame against Texas, because I really don't want to see Ohio State win, because then that would be the first time in our series history that the winner of Michigan, Ohio State, that game was irrelevant, because I would rather be the national championship. I would rather be national champions for a second time in a row than say I beat Ohio State for a fourth time. So if Ohio State's the national champions, I would say, who gives a... If I was a Michigan fan, I would laugh and say, are you kidding me? Go ahead, beat me every year if I can win the title. So, me personally, I am taking Texas, but I may not take it before the game. I may look for that money line to hit about plus 250. Holy crap, James. Thank you so much for $49.99. Holy moly. Holy moly. Why it's so bearish right now. That's incredibly, well, not so bearish, but it's so incredibly generous. So I hope what I've said today makes you understand that. No, I think I get exactly what I deserve, to be honest. And thank you for your third YouTube super chat. Some people think that I'm underpaid. You know what's funny about that? I'm not. In a sense, I'm not. On YouTube in December and November, I hit a milestone with what I actually earned on YouTube. And I'm not afraid to say it. And yeah, it's down this month because of what's going on. But at least for one shining month, because of my YouTube advertising revenue that's from my videos, because that's how they promote it, I hit like $2,000 in revenue from advertising. I didn't get to keep it all because I have to pay taxes, but I usually only get about $700 or $800. So in that sense, I was able to get a little bit more based on the time put in and the amount of views. But overall, my channel had the most profitable month. So in 4 years, in March, I've been monetized since my third week on YouTube. I got monetized very quickly, but I had my single worst month, and this is the funny thing. It was a very low month, the worst month I ever had on YouTube in October, and then December was my best month I ever had. So, you know, maybe undervalued in one month, but overvalued in another. Now we'll find our even medium. But, you know, so I'm not doing it for free. Even if nobody ever sends a donation, there usually is, you know, $700 to $1,000 in advertising revenue just from the videos being advertised on by YouTube, which if I don't do it, they won't promote them. So, plus we all deserve a little something for our time. But no, I'm definitely not making anywhere near real money. I couldn't just do YouTube to not work if I didn't have an income. If I wasn't a good trader, I couldn't just do YouTube and not have a job. That's why it was in peril. It was peril for me to not have a YouTube when I first quit my other job, because I was able to live off of it for a couple years, and then YouTube supplements it, as little as it is sometimes. But you guys get the picture. That's not what I'm doing it for, though. I'm not doing it for the monetization here. That's not why I started this. Historical data, so in the end, everybody who says, why didn't you tell us? Why didn't you help the small? I did. I did it every single day, nonstop, to the best of my ability. So institutional Bitcoin whales accumulate 34,000 Bitcoin following December price dip. And this is interesting. The cryptocurrency market is abuzz with activity as institutional investors known as whales have seized the opportunity to accumulate over 34,000 Bitcoin following its December price correction. Data from block trends and crypto quant shows that these large holders strategically purchased Bitcoin worth approximately 3.2 billion after a sharp market dip triggered by Bitcoin's peak of over 108,000 on December 17th, 2024, my birthday, in which it sold off right after. In the days after Bitcoin's peak, wallets holding 1,000 to 10,000 Bitcoin collectively sold 79,000 Bitcoin, triggering a 15% correction. So think about Silk Road, 62,000 Bitcoin, roughly, or 69,500. I can't remember what it was. But 79,000 Bitcoin had it go down 15%. So Silk Road's about a 10 to 12% correction. Is that enough for you to jump off a cliff? For some, it might be. If it is, you probably bought in the wrong spot. According to Block Trends, head of research, Carol Olivero, this sell-off coincided with the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate cut. However, these same institutional players returned to the market, taking advantage of prices below 95K to rebuild their positions through smaller fragmented trades. Bitcoin's 7-day balance chain turns positive following a late December sell-off of nearly 80,000 Bitcoin, signaling renewed market activity. This calculated accumulation underscores the strategic approach of large players who capitalize on market consolidation, Olivero explained in a January 8th crypto quant post. Market signals the shift toward recovery. And I like to read what other things are pointing to other than my own analysis. Bitcoin's 7-day balance change has flipped positive following the late December sell-off. This indicator renewed buying pressure, which could help stabilize the market by January 7th. Bitcoin was trading around 94,900, down 2.3% for the day amidst broader market weakness caused by U.S. economic data. BITUNIX and analysts also noted a sharp reduction in sell-side liquidity, suggesting that the worst of the downward price pressure might be over. Shrinking liquidity often foreshadows a period of stabilization, they stated in a January 6th market note, but that just shows they don't understand technical analysis, because there's no way we could have avoided a drop to that 91,800 level if we were coming down here, because that's where the broadening wedge support is, the rising broadening wedge support. The incoming U.S. administration under President-elect Donald Trump is expected to adopt pro-crypto policies, further boosting market confidence. Fidelity Digital Assets anticipates that central banks, sovereign wealth funds, and the government treasuries will increasingly view Bitcoin as a strategic asset. In a recent research paper, Fidelity analyst Matt Hogan stated more institutional players are likely to allocate Bitcoin in their portfolio, setting the stage for a potential rally. Experts offered various predictions for Bitcoin's trajectory in 25 block run. I don't even care what they say. They're so stupid that it'll hurt my brain. So we're going to end it there, because I don't need that. I'm not going to read all their junk. They've been wrong about everything since the beginning. Aren't these the same people that told you not to buy Bitcoin because it was not safe and criminals used that? I mean, get out of here. Of course they're going to tell you to buy it when it's way up here. Let's look at the Bitcoin heat signature map, the heat liquidation map. I like to do it in the monthly. Just see what's... Ooh. Whoa. Where did that come from? You guys see what I'm seeing? There's a wall of liquidity building below. I don't know when that popped up in the last week. Damn. Let's go back into the monthly. That's a big wall that was building up there. 90K. 90K. Wow. Oh, don't worry about the cappers. You guys can keep the caps on. That's okay. I didn't say they sold it. I said that's what you could be expecting. I know they haven't sold it. I said you could be expecting from Silk Road about a 12 to 15% dump, and I was correlating it with the 72,000 Bitcoin that were sold that dropped 15%. That is a lot of people going long. Look at all these long. Oh my God. Holy crap. This was not like this yesterday, folks. You guys remember, this was not like this yesterday. There was less than 100 million in these zones yesterday. One of them had 200 million. You're talking about 750,000 or of a billion. Look at all this. Oh, fuck. There's a lot of liquidity, so we might be seeking. It depends. If we push up here, and let's just say we were to push up, that would mean, remember we talked about that top? I don't know, though. That is a lot of liquidity. Fucking A. Oh, son of a bitch. I don't know, guys. That doesn't look good right there. That's a lot of freaking liquidity to be left behind. I like it, though, because that leaves the obvious scenario. That leaves an obvious area that a lot of people are going long right now, too. So you can look at this one of two ways. But Jesus Christ. It absolutely would be, Frank. Only from the standpoint of we could clear out a lot of damage. But Algo is having a decent pump. Oh, yeah, up 7.2%. We were talking about Algo, too. That was one of the ones we spotlighted earlier about the possibility to sell if somebody was selling, and then all of a sudden, what if it was going up 5-10% before we had a correction, and then it's just right back down to the number we were at anyhow. But the Bitcoin, that Bitcoin daily candle, at least when we started, we said that is not a long leg doji. In fact, it could push up to here and create one and still be bearish. But look at the volume that came in. Volume predicts price. We're looking for a volume surge. Is 894 Bitcoin. That's it? Oh, yeah, it's this particular exchange. That's actually a lot for a 4-hour segment right now. I forgot. Daily's trying to ship, but the 4-hourly, we clearly have a spike in volume. That's good. That's a good sign. But if Silk Road's getting ready to sell, this is playing like devil's advocate. If they're getting ready to sell, are they looking for the best price possible? The U.S. government. So, I mean, they very well could play the symmetrical trial. Who knows? But that's why I keep saying, don't sell what you want to hold long term. Not here. Not here. You got to know what you're going to hold, and you got to know what you need to get rid of. Because if you're holding now, you got an agenda here. We didn't do what we did. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah, your mom. There was a sell-off of 72,000 Bitcoin, and it dropped the market approximately 15%. It's showing in the data. So if you figure, what is it? It's either, 69,500 Bitcoin. You figure that would drop the market about 12% in one fair swoop. So that's if they sold them all at one time. I'm not even convinced they're going to sell them. Until we finish off a bigger rally. I'm not convinced. It's good to see gold up 24 bucks. It's good to see silver's up back over 30 bucks. Pretty found almost a 30.50. Wow. But you know, it's been an hour here, folks, so I'm gonna have to get going. I'm gonna sing Sunny Days. I'm gonna be true to my word. But as far as VeChain's on the precipice. If it could break out of this consolidation finally, it just hasn't been able to do it yet. A lot of these are on the precipice of a big breakout. It's just we haven't been able to move out. We need to get over 5 cents on VeChain, and once we do and we hold, we validate a move that's about a 46% move. It's a pretty freaking big move. It's a big move. And they're going to be bigger once it happens, but this is so volatile right now, everybody, that you're going to have to get your Depends. You're going to have to get some kind of diaper or something if you're not. It's not for the faint of heart. The US dollar is going real volatile. This is the thing about gold and silver. If gold and silver is pumping while the dollar is going up, what's going to happen when the US dollar tanks? This is unlike things that I'm used to. The US dollar, when it's pumping, gold and silver is not normally pumping with it. It's weird. Isn't this weird to anybody who follows the commodities market? These were sure red days when the US dollar was pumping artificially. It's just an incredible thing. It's an incredible day. Yeah, the 10-year is up 1.15% right now, up to 4.74%. That means if you're saving money and you put it into a government bond, you're getting a little bit more today. But if you're looking to get an interest, a 10-year loan, good luck. Good luck. You're almost paying an extra 1.5%, almost 1.25% right now, more than you would have yesterday. This whole thing is imploding. And now look at the Dow. Remember what we said? Are they really going to pump the Dow going into Trump, or are they going to want to make it look like it's diving so that Trump comes in and he can revitalize the market? There's so many things that just don't make sense that it really does make sense if you understand what's going on. Isn't that weird? Think about that. So many things that don't make sense, but they do. We'll see what happens. But ladies and gentlemen, because I gotta go. Let's get through this. Oh, and the USDT chart. Pay attention to this, because if this is going to bounce out, this is bearish for crypto if it comes up to 4.98%, because that means more money's going back into stable coins. And it looks like it might bounce up there, so we just got to watch. We're just going to keep watching all the evidence. But in that regard, that's it. That's all I got this morning. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Oh, I guess I should show you this, because I'm going to sing Sunny Days. I promise, Julie. Only because this is only going to last for a few days, and it's pretty interesting that they're actually doing this. But BITUNIX, it's in the video description below, or pinned comments here. There's a BITUNIX thing in the YouTube chat you're looking at. But if you go here on the BITUNIX for a few more days, if you click on this link, and this is for the community, they're doing a trading thing, and you can get up to 800 XRP. So if you're a futures or leverage trader and you're a high volume trader, just take advantage of that. You can see it right there. You can get up to 800 XRP for free. Right now, that's almost a $2,000 value. That's crazy. And then if you deposit $500, you get $50. So you send some crypto from another exchange. You don't need to do a KYC on their exchange, or a no KYC exchange, unless you really want to. You get free money too. So like, take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. And that goes until February 7th. So it's a 1 month thing they're doing. It's a 1 month thing they're doing. So just take advantage of that. I encourage it. That's the exchange I use. Also, you'll see a link in there for crypto.com. The only reason I share that is if you're interested in the crypto debit card, I would highly encourage that. If you're interested in buying DGB in the USA and you have no luck, you can buy it there. That's where I own it. They also have ZIL, VChain, Algo, XLM, XRP. They've got the whole slew. They've got them all. HBAR, the ones that we talk about here every single day. They have all of them except XDC and IOTA. Those are the only two I can't get on there that I would really encourage them to get. But anyhow, that's where we're at. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you appreciate what I do, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the almost 30,600 subscribers. If you feel the need to send a YouTube super chat or join Tom's Army, that's one thing. But remember, my content's always free. There's also a way to send via PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. But honestly, what's the point? Just watch, just learn. I prefer you to sign up to BITUNIX, or sign up to crypto.com, or sign up to an exchange that you like. Put your capital to work instead of throwing it away to me on YouTube. Unless you're actually making some monetary value and gains, then that's one thing. But just don't give away money if you're struggling. I prefer you to invest it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? Ladies and gentlemen, the sunny days are here again. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. I wear glasses 'cause I can't see a motherfucking thing. Happy days. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. XRP will reign supreme. Let's just not get caught in the FUD. Oh, we're gonna crash and we did and we will and we won't and we did and we will and we won't and we will and we won't. Oh, yeah. What do we believe? I don't know anymore. Stay true. Stay blessed. Don't get bent over by the unethicals that just wanna steal your money. You guys all know who they are now. If you don't know by now who's Pinocchio and who's not, if you don't know who's trying to make a cheap buck off of you by now and who's not, if you bring into me one more time into my community somebody who told you to buy goat, and I gave you all the reasons why they told you to, if you bring in any of that FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, don't bring it in voluntarily. Your resolution in 25 should be getting rid of all the white noise, bringing in all the true noise, and getting rid of all the speculation and conjecture and start sticking to facts. Because in 2025, notice most of these people, I've been here long enough, almost 4 years on YouTube. Do you know how many people were XRP influencers who are now XRP influencers that were yesteryear were influencers of Luna and yesteryear influencers of all this other bullshit that's already been delisted and Come on now. They're here every day. They're here every day. The fact that one of the biggest influencers on YouTube quoted Carl the Moon in his video 2 days ago, doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? Somebody sent me the clip. Like, come on now. Come on now. Anybody who knows anything knows Carl the Moon is one of the biggest shysters of all time on YouTube. Let's be honest here, guys. Stop it. Please. Anyhow, thank you all so much. And a blast from the past. Does anybody remember my first ever intro I did? You can simply refer to me as TSpeaka222. Remember? And then it evolved. And then before we knew it, we were TSpeaka222 XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on X Woman Future. Did you bite? OG. But then, people were complaining that they couldn't share my channel. So that's how it turned into XRP Future Millionaire. And then I turned it into I reside in the great state of Michigan. So we're making positive changes. But we've never stopped talking about our motive. The whole reason I started YouTube, see, too many people are jumping ship to go from what they think is going to make them money from here, to money to there, to money to here, to money to there. How about you just hone your craft? Yeah, it's not the most glamorous lifestyle to live in crypto 24/7. Sure, it's not the most glamorous moments to be XRP Future Millionaire when I was at 35 to 50 cents for 2 years. And now it's even less glamorous at $2.28 because they think I'm Johnny come lately and I'll never be XRP Future Millionaire. Nor did they know I was poking in the weeds the whole time, just nobody wanted to pay attention until it got up here. Anyhow, have a blessed day. Smile. You'd be amazed. Force yourself to smile. Just force yourself to smile. You learn that muscle, then all of a sudden you start smiling for no reason. You're like, what the hell is going on? I'm smiling. I'm mad, but I'm still smiling. Instead of this, it's a smile. Try it, everybody. Try it before we leave. Just smile. It's amazing what smiling can do for you. It's our job to get rid of all the hate. Oh, it's going to be a disaster. Because what you see in 25 coming, you have no idea unless you do. You either do or you don't. So smile, be prosperous, be humble, show humility in your actions, but try to make a difference in the positive. Somebody does something stupid, don't point it out. Try to encourage them. If they're a racist, if they're anything, the ones crying racist have become racist. The ones who are doing good have now become the bad. The ones who are God-fearing are now satanic ritualing. It's so weird. We've literally, And can I say something that is perplexing to me? Is there anybody who is having these moments? When I was a kid, Teddy Bruschi, and I know something's weird in my timeline. It has to be. Because I haven't thought of this name for over 15 years. Teddy Bruschi, when he retired from football, and what I remember, he worked for ESPN, and then he had an enlarged heart, and he died. Well, to my shock and horror a few months ago, all of a sudden, I see Teddy Bruschi make an appearance on ESPN, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I know something is weird. And there's so many of these things that I see now that I can swear these people were not. I don't know what's going on anymore. Maybe what actually happened is when I got into one of my bad accidents and I thought I survived, maybe I actually didn't, and I ended up on a new timeline or something, or I'm just living my own hell here on Earth. So it would make perfect sense. It would really make perfect sense if I look back on my life that could have happened. And then what I experience on a day-to-day basis is me trying to fight through my own virtue. And I'm trying to find my higher consciousness. So I don't know what's going on anymore, but I do know something weird is going on. So it's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. I'm a truck driver and I didn't number the truck, and it's truck number 589. I am rocking the Mandela effect in more ways than one. Sorry, but no, Tom. You're doing great. Hey, no, you don't have to be sorry. I was just saying. You're on the right path. Timeline did shift. And it's been a more prosperous time around this time for me. So I'm not saying I'm complaining. And I definitely have pushed more in a... It's just a big shift overall. You guys remember me in 21. Now all of a sudden. We all have a hell we are living, but God is here for us. Absolutely. Call it the redemption tour. God gives us all a chance to redeem ourselves. Some say 3012, the whole world shifted. Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes, I understand CERN. I just didn't want to get into CERN because I don't want to get banned. But yes, 100%. I know what you meant about 2012, Mark. Our paths collided, changed my... Yes, sir. Yes, sir. God, I love the discussion. But guys, it's going to be volatile today. I want to go help Julie because she's feeding our son. As you know, he has a feeding tube in his stomach. He does eat some still, but he's just... A lot of things going on. But I bless all of you. Thank you all so much for giving me the time. Have a blessed morning, and we'll meet back.